Well, good morning, everybody. I know we still have several people that are getting in, but we'll kind of get started. My name's BJ Yoder. I'm a product specialist with AllMax. Just to kind of give you a brief hello, I'm glad you're here this morning. Today, what we're going to be looking at is a feature that gets underlooked in the Operator 10 programs. Uh, the operator logbook and the quick note section that can be done in data views and adding notes from that standpoint. Both of these areas, I feel, from what I've seen, for the most part, get underutilized and how they work. So one of the things that we're going to do, and again, we're going to go into both areas. We will take a look at both sections, but I want to start out with one that is with the quick notes and how they work. All right. So when you're in a data view, one of the things that you are able to do is you're able to go in and you can go and figure out when you're entering your data, maybe you have a piece of data that is out of range, or maybe it's just something's a little off on it, or you want to put a note associated with that piece of data. So what you're able to do is when we come in here, so let's take a look at this, like this minimum temperature, for example, here. We have it set at 13 and things along that lines. Well, one of the things that you're able to do is when you're looking at a piece of data, you can right click on it and you can go down and do the quick note editor, or you can use your control, and either one works as well. By doing this, this allows you to go in and attach a note to a piece of data. Now, this note, when you go and you add a quick note, it is associated with the piece of data, not the data view that you're on. So any data view that has this piece of data on it for this date and time, date and or time and value, you will be able to go and add a note to it. So by default, when you go and you create a quick note, it is going to give you your facility name in the text field, the facility name, the location in which your value is associated with, and the parameter your value is associated with, along with who you're logged in with. Now, this gives a good example of why we kind of recommend, and how I recommend that anybody that is using the program to have individual logins into the program. And the reason why is because we track things by, there's a lot of things that can be tracked by individual users, this being one of them. We're able to go in here and you can then tell who put that note in. So if you have your system set up for um, a generic operator login, everybody uses the same computer, they all log in as operator and they just put stuff in. Well, then you're going to have a little bit more detail about what you're going to do, because this, instead of saying the person's name, will say operator. So something to think about if you want help changing security and you want to add users and stuff, get with our tech support, get with us in tech support and get with us and we will help you. We can walk you through how to do that. Anyway, back to entering a note. So you have all this information in here. It is not required to stay. So if you don't want it, you can get rid of it and it's not a big deal. Or you can just come in and simply put down a note, and you can put any type of note that you want in here. So for in this case, we were looking at the 13. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to say uh, value seen high. Going to recalibrate the unit. Okay, so we just put in a note like that. Now, by doing that, then that tells us what we're doing. And so when I hit save on this, what happens is we end up with a little caret in the upper right hand corner of the value. So when I go and mouse over that, that shows up, that value shows up. Now, like I said, this shows up anywhere where this location parameters is. So we can go and we can look wherever and we will find that value on that date. Now, what other you things we can do? I mean, there are items to do it. Now, in my wastewater plant, one of the things we always had an issue with, not always, but several times we would have an issue with one of our copper readings. We had no industries that dumped copper on us, but every once in a while we would get a result and the contract lab would send us a result of 25. Okay, and we're like, yeah, seriously doubt that that's correct. Well, then what they would do is they would send us that result. Well, we would get the contract lab and we'd say, hey, could you go ahead and rerun that value, rerun that test for us? And hardly ever, never fails. They come back and we're going to get a less than 5. Okay. Well, in Ohio, one of the things that we had to do when we got to values like that is we would have to go in and go and take the average of the two. So that would be a 30. So we would enter a 15. So what we would do is we'd come in here and we'd put a 15 in. But what we would end up doing is we would do the same thing. We would do a quick note, and it would be this. First value from the lab was 25. Second value was 5. Report 15 as average of the two. Okay, so we would put that note in. By doing that, one of the nice things about that, and by doing that, we're able then to go and have a note associated with that value. So when I hit save, and I'm going and whoever, maybe the superintendent or the lab person or whoever's entering data or looking at data, they'll see that note and they'll go, oh, why do we have a 15? That seems awful high. Well, then we can go in here, oh, lab did a 25, they reran it, got a 5, so we have to do an average of 15. So now I have that associated with that. All right. So that gives us a quick note and what you can do with it. Now, what other things can we do with the quick notes? All right. So we have all these notes and I have them on this data view. And let's say I want to print out the notes for this data that are on this data view. Okay. What we can do is we just come up here to the left-hand corner and we just click on it. And then under tools, we have a quick note, which then we can go and we can say print. At which time it goes and it sends it to the printer, and this is what it would look like. So you'd end up with those two notes because I have two different notes on there. This is what they are, who entered them, what the values were, and what the note itself was. Okay, so this gives you the ability to go and have, if you need a hard copy of it or something like that, you're able to do that. Now, what if I want to go and look at more quick notes? I want to look at wherever I have quick notes, not necessarily on this one, but wherever I have it. Well, what we can do then is we can come out at the main application. So it's your main screen. You can come up under view and we have a place for quick note viewer. When we do this, this is going to show you every quick note that has ever been done. So those last two that I did, and again, we'll do it for, you can filter. So we can come in here and we can filter it and change the direction. So we got the newest ones at the top instead of the bottom. We can then filter by the user name. So in this case, I can just go BJ. And I filtered, and these are the two notes that I had. So this also gives you the ability then is you can go in and you can look for different things. All right. And you're able to go and see what the note is and how they're doing it. Now, I'm going to give kudos here to one of our clients. And the reason being, because you can tell real quick, this is some information that I got from our City of Marietta wastewater plant. Ryan and Adam down there are two great, I mean, Adam, Chris are two great guys to work with, and they use the system very well, and they put a lot of notes in. They put a lot of information into the system. So just want to give them kudos since this is where it's coming from, and they can look at it. But then you can go and look at it. So like if I'm looking for something in particular, I can go in and I can filter by final. I can filter by a date range. And this allows me to go in and find out what the node is. So like here, for example, we have invalid due to 40-inch and 36-inch lines being bypassed. So it's just a note. We can tell things about that. That goes, and again, the idea being here is we can take those quick notes, we can find it, we can search for things along the lines in the quick note editor. All right. And it just makes it a little bit easier being able to find things and look at stuff. All right. So that's how the quick note works. Now what we're going to talk about now is the operator logbook. Now, many plants, and I haven't been in a plant yet that doesn't have some type of a logbook. Now, with these logbooks, what they are is it's a paper logbook. I had them in my plant. I had to go and I had to fill them out every day. Anytime we did anything in the plant, I had to go and put a note down in my logbook, just to go and keep track. This was something the state mandated for us, but it was also a good technique just to keep track of everything that you do. Now, one of the things, the issues with a logbook, one of the downsides of logbook is if somebody goes to read it. At that point, it may be very hard because we had a couple operators in our plant that you couldn't read their writing. Even if you turned it upside down, you wouldn't be able to read their writing, and it wouldn't be easy to understand what it was saying. So with the operator logbook in Operator 10, what this allows you to do then is to give you a way of creating an electronic version of the logbook. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, just like the paper logbook that we go and we fill out, we need to track that information. But just like in the paper copy, we were not allowed to go and say, hey, oh, we can't do this, so I got to erase it. If we wanted to change it, we had to scratch it out and we had to go and we had to adjust accordingly. Or you couldn't go and say, nope, I don't like that, and you rip it out and you throw it away. You couldn't get rid of it. That logbook was, in essence, a strong document that had to be kept. Well, what happens when we do the logbook in Operator 10? When we're in Operator 10, and again, it's under View, Operator Logbook, and this will take you into here. What this does is this. This allows you to go in, and we are able to go in and put logs in here based on date and time. If you do enter a wrong date, yes, it does show up, but just so you know. But this allows you to go in and put information in here that is protected. As you notice, when you're in the operator logbook area, there is no way to delete. I cannot delete a record. And we do that because it is a record that states look at. I know every time I did a state inspection, one of the things one of them would bound to ask, hey, can we look at your logbook? And so we have to pull it up. All right. And we have to do it. So we can't go and delete things out of here. We don't want to be able to delete it. Now, how this works is, and again, this is where that individual user that I was talking about when we were talking about quick notes, you would want to set up individual users that log in and out of the program, are getting into the program based on their user permissions. Okay, so for example, you may have, when it comes to user permissions, you may have users that are data entry only. They can only do data entry. Okay, and that's great. I mean, that way they can't change any of the data views. They can't change it. They can view everything, but they can't change it. Now, another user, because I've had users do this, they don't use, some of the people that are putting stuff in don't enter data. So they don't need the permission of entering data. All they have the permission is view everything except for operator logbook. They can go into the operator logbook and they can create entries. So how do we go about doing that? So when you're in here and you're logged in, because again, I'm logged in as me. This is who I am. So when I go and I hit the plus sign, it's going to give me a little window. I'm going to go and I'm going to grab a date and a time. When we select the date, we also grab the time as well. Time is going to be whole hours is usually how we end up running it. And so I can come in here, and so right now it's like 11:15, so I'm going to put it in as 11 a.m. and I'm going to hit OK. So now that's what that record is. So I can then come in here and go, this is my day. I have done this so far, etc. And I can sit here and I can put everything in here that I've done so far and any note that I've wanted to start out with. A lot of times what people are going to do is they're going to start this off at the beginning of their shift. All right, so they're going to come in here and they're going to go, but they start at 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. first thing they're going to do is they're going to put an entry. I am now the operator of record and I'm starting my shift at this time. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Okay, so when I go and I do this, I hit save. I now have a record for me. All right, so now as you see down here at the bottom, I have this record. So now let's say it's a little bit later and I need to add more stuff in. I need to add more to this, or I need to later in my day, I add more. Well, what we can do is we select it instead of doing a new one. All we do is we come in here and up here at the top, we select our record and we hit append. So now I have the window up here and it's got what I had before. And I go, I am now doing this. And I go and I put stuff in and I hit save. And so now I have that. And I can continue to append throughout the day. And it's going to append with the actual time that you actually entered it. Okay, so if you start off right at the beginning, it will append as it goes. Now, another thing that you can do when you append an entry, if let's say you type something wrong, okay, and so we typed all this and we realized, oh, well, that's wrong. I can, instead of deleting it, we can do a strike through. So when I do that, then it is a strike, it's got the lines through it. You can still read it. You're still able to see it. You're still able to read what is taking place. But it is there from that standpoint. Okay. Now, what are some other things that we can do? How are other ways to make this work? For example, one of the things, and Marietta does it this way, and I'm totally impressed with their logbook. They do a great job. So instead of going in all the time and entering stuff over and over again, one of the things that they do is in their note, they say what the time frame is that they're dealing with. So they go in once a day and enter stuff. So in this case, on the 27th, he entered this stuff from 1600 to 2359. And then from midnight to 7:30, this would happen then because it's two separate days because he's a night shift operator. Okay. So it gives you the ability to go in and add some additional information, put information in here about what you want to do. Now, in Ohio, one of the things that we always still had to have, if anybody from Ohio can tell me different, but one of the things that we used to do is when we did our operator logbook, when we were doing an electronic version, what we would do is once a month, once a week, we would print out everything that was done. Okay, everything that took place. So to do that, what we can do is we can come up here and we can do a range. I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to January and I'm going to do January 1st. And I'm just going to go back to here and I'm just going to do through the 10th, for example. So when I hit OK, I've just filtered that out completely. So when I go and I select all that, I can then come up here and I can print this out. And I can print the detail, or I can just do the grid. I want the detail. So just like we did with Quick Notes, we were able to go and we were able to print that. Then what we end up with is we end up with notes. Everything that's been put in, these are the notes. These are everything that's been put in for that time frame. By printing these out, then you have a hard copy. You can put punch holes in it for a 3-ring binder, and then you can put it in a binder. You have a hard copy. So then if somebody from the States, hey, we want to see your logbook, here you go. This is our logbook. We do it electronically, but we also go and we enter data from this standpoint. And this is how we do it. We print it out so you have a hard copy as well. Everybody that I've talked to and everybody that I've worked in love that idea, because some people do like it being printed. But since it cannot be changed in here, since we can't change, we can't edit things in here, we can't delete these, this is a valid record. And it gives us that capability of being able to have a place where we can do it. Now, what are some things that we can do in here? Now, unlike Quick Notes, we can't search the note for something. We can search by the person. So I can come up here and I can say, look for everything for me, and I can search for it. And we can search for it. One of the things that we are doing right now, and we're going to be doing it as well, is we are going to be making this searchable by text. So I'd be able to look for pH, for example. I could go pH meter or whatever, and I could filter for it, and I could look for it. And that is going to be added in a future release. So where we're going to add the search capabilities to that. Now, one of the things I want to go and address and talk about now is where are we heading? Where are we heading with the program, with our programs, our products and stuff like that? One of the things that we are doing now, we are in beta testing right now for a new product, and it's called Synexus. Now, what the Synexus does is it allows us to go in, and it is a complete web-based product. All right. So what it is when we log in, bring this over here. It is a web-based, so you will have a user login. It is not an app, but it is you go access it through a browser. You use an email for your login, and you go in. Now, what this program is going to do is this. This program is actually going to combine all the products that we have: wastewater, water, pretreatment, and maintenance, all in one spot. We are still under development on some of it, so we're rolling stuff out shortly. But one of the things that we have done, and again, when we're in the thing, we still have an operator logbook. We are able to still do the same thing that we're doing now, like in desktop, just like I showed you, but you're going to be having it in here. Now, some of the things that are neat about the Synexus, and again, having everything in one spot really makes it, I don't know, I mean, I think, in my opinion, makes it easier. This gives us the ability then to go in and we can look at all the products information at one time. So I can create a report that is my water flow, my industrial flow, my wastewater flow, influent and effluent. And then I can also go and say, how many work orders did I do for the month? And I can create a report based off that without having to go into different products. Okay. So it's going to be a really fantastic thing. One of the things that I did just find out today is we are going to be enhancing our logbook. What we're designing right now, and it's completely under design, so I don't even have anything to show you, but I wanted to let you know where we're heading with the logbook. One of the things that we're going to be able to do is have a user summary. So we can go and say, I am a shift person, so my shift is here. I started my shift here. This is when I started my time. This is everything I did. I entered this many pieces, excuse me. I entered this many pieces of data. I did this many work orders. I did this, plus all the notes that I put in the logbook. Those will all be in a summary page from that standpoint. And so that is something that we are under development with. The the Synexus program, as what we called it, it is going to be a fantastic way of doing things. So instead of having a desktop on your computer, you will access it through a web page. All right. So basically, well, what device does it work on? Well, any device that can get to allmaxsoftware.com, you'll be able to use it on. That's how well it'll work. You will be able to go in, see everything you have, data that you have will go and convert. We will convert data so you don't have to worry about losing anything or starting over, and you'll be able to have that information. Now, there's some things that are a little bit different. For example, one of the things is like right now in desktop, when you're in desktop, let's say I want to go and I want to do a chart. You have to go to the charting section, pick your location parameters, and go from there and do that. Well, one of the things that we are able to do now in it is we can come in here and we can set up an entry. And again, I'm going to do monthly, back to the 17th on this. And one of the things is this is kind of what this will look like. This is what your data will look like. But what we're able to do then is we're able to create views. So if I want a chart, I can come in here and I can go and say, hey, I want a vertical bar. Boom, done. So I don't have to go somewhere else to create it. So those are some neat features that we have coming out that's going to be out. And again, it's all in one spot, so you don't have separate charts. You just do it on the view of the data that you want to look at it. All right. So this is something that is the Synexus program. Like I said, we are in beta for it right now. And it's one of those that as we progress and we go on, we'll have stuff available here probably in another month or so where we'll really start rolling it out. But as you go in and as you're doing this and as you're working in the program and in the Synexus, as you were going in and doing stuff and adding things, one of the neat things about it, well, right now, like if we do updates, we go and we do the updates out like once every 6 months, once every year or whatnot. Here with the Synexus, because of how it is being done, if we see an issue or or maybe we need to add something, it's a matter of taking care of it right now. Our development team can take care of it. And on your end, you just refresh your browser and it's going to be there. So that's something to take a look at. If you guys are interested in that or anything else, such as training that we have, or if you want training on any of our software or you need any help, feel free to reach out. We will be more than happy to do that for you, help you out in any way we can. And we can go in and do that. So with this being said, I know it's kind of a shorter webinar today because of our topic that we did. Let us know what you would like to hear. What would you like a topic on? Feel free to drop us an email if there's a webinar that you would like to have. Maybe it's on Antero or maybe pretreatment or whatever. If there is a webinar topic that you would like to see, please reach out to us. Let us know. And then we will go in and we'll look at putting a webinar together on that. One other thing, just remember, if you want to look at any of these webinars, these past webinars, make sure you go and sign in to our customer portal on our website. By doing that, you will have access to every webinar that we've ever put on, and you can go and watch them at no charge. So that's just something to keep in mind from that standpoint. We thank you again for your time today. We hope you have a good weekend. Hope you have a good rest of your day, good rest of your week, and a good weekend. And thanks a lot.